something where the plane was descending, and like you have just told us, you hear these planes descend right before they actually they land at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport. So when you're hearing this plane going overhead, what's the first sound that you heard that sounded like trouble to you?
Like I said, it was like a high-pitched sound that sounded like it was wind going through a tunnel, and you know immediately in your gut that something is wrong, and that I couldn't see it being 10:30 at night. I suspect as it was coming towards that area, residents that were closer were able to actually make out the plane as it was coming in. I wasn't actually able to see that, but definitely an eerie sound, and when it hit, you knew it hit. It shook the ground, it shook your body, it shook your emotions, and it was, for me, more emotional than physical.
You know, it's incredible. If you go on to foxnews.com, you can read more about this story for all those that are listening right now, but we have more in-depth sort of knowledge as to what went on minutes before this crash happened. And apparently the voice of a female pilot on this Continental Flight 3407 actually can be heard communicating with air traffic controllers. And at no point could you actually hear the pilot exchange any concerns that anything was out of the ordinary, as this airplane actually was asked to fly at 2,300 feet. So 2,300 feet is approximately what they were asked to fly before they were about to make their descent into the airport. Did you feel, and I'm not expecting you to be a pilot here, but did you feel like the plane was actually closer to you than 2,300 feet? Did you feel like if you were to look up in the sky, it felt like less than that, maybe a few hundred feet, trying to sort of gauge as to whether or not this plane was much lower and perhaps lost control with the airport tower?
Absolutely, you could hear that it definitely, the planes, even though we're close to the airport, they must descend very rapidly, because they're not, you're not feeling as if though they're right over your head, when you're actually, just going about your day-to-day activities. But in this situation, obviously, this wasn't a 747 or a large jet. I can only imagine what that would have sounded like. But, yeah, definitely a difference in altitude, and definitely a perception that something wasn't right.
Yeah, so certainly wasn't right at all. At about 10:20 this evening in Buffalo, New York, a plane going down there, 74 seat Q400 Bombardier aircraft. This is a commuter plane, so this is a plane that often flies in and out of Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey, going into Buffalo Niagara International Airport. I would imagine this is a pretty short flight. I don't know exactly how long this flight is, but this is a flight that I would imagine, as a commuter flight, flies several times throughout the day. But at this point, the delays you do or do not believe would be due to weather, considering you were there, you saw the weather, and the weather didn't necessarily seem to be that abnormal, being light snow, fog, and 17 miles per hour winds. Doesn't necessarily mean that it was that unusual for Buffalo.
My initial reaction was that it was the heavier sort of wet snow that we were getting. Obviously, I'm definitely no expert in the area, but I mean, planes coming in and out of Buffalo every single day in rough weather. I myself had to come in the middle of a thunderstorm and lightning storm coming in from Boston a few months back.
In the same airport?
Yeah, to the same airport, flying in from JFK, from Boston to JFK to Buffalo, and that was, a little bit scary, in that you could, see the lightning underneath the clouds and whatnot, but I'm assuming this is something that they're originally trained for, and definitely something that happens every day without incident. So, my initial reaction was yes, it probably could have been the changing weather patterns, but I'm assuming they're much better at gauging that than someone on the ground is.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Keith Burtis. We actually got in connection with one another on Twitter.com. I'm on Twitter.com/Julie Banderas, and you're on Twitter.com. So thankfully we found you, somebody who actually saw the crash moments after it happened and heard it overhead. Keith Burtis, thank you so much, and I know you're going to be coming back on Fox. I believe they're going to have you on Fox and Friends in the morning. So grab a cup of coffee, and thank you so much for talking to us tonight.
Thank you, Julie.
All right, Lauren, back to you.
And thank you, Julie. You just heard from Keith Burris, an eyewitness to the scene there of crash Continental Flight 3407, where 49 people have been killed on Thursday night. It crashed just outside of suburban Buffalo, New York. We want to let you know, of course, we have Fox News teams on the way. Our own Rick Leventhal is driving up to the scene right now, and shortly he will be streaming video from the vehicle he is driving up in. We'll bring that to you. But we also want to let you hear from one of the other witnesses to this crash, someone who knows how tragic this accident was. Let's play that soundbite for you.
My sister was on the plane, as far as we know. Yes, my other sister Laura was waiting at the airport. I heard on the radio that there had been a crash, so I called immediately to see if the plane had landed at the airport or not. And initially she thought that it had, but it turns out that that is not the case. So, yes, she was on a Continental flight coming in from Newark. No closer than anybody else. I tried, but they told me to come over here, and any information would be coming out of here, so. Nothing. Nothing. They just said they're gathering information together right now, and we don't really know anything. So, right now I'm thinking the worst. And I'm thinking about the fact that my mother has to fly home from Florida, and what I'm going to tell my two sons. That's what I'm thinking.
Unfortunately, that gentleman's sister was aboard that flight, and she, along with 43 other passengers, did not make it home. That flight crashed, killing the 44 passengers on board, as well as the 4 crew members and 1 person